I'm Nick with Matt from Multirotor, and today, IFlight-RC has sent me their Revo B F4 flight controller. Now, multi-shot has become an industry standard, and D-shot is just now starting to come online. So this is going to be my first test with D-shot, and seeing just how well it performs, as well as how much performance I can get out of this little flight controller. Let's take a look at it, shall we? Now, iFlight's Revo B F4 comes nicely packaged with a bag in a bag. And then typical ESD shielding bag. And boom. Now, off the bat, this thing is really pretty. You can do it. Focus. There we go. It is an F405 controller, so F4 power. Woo! And it is a MPU 6000 gyro with an SPI bus, so it's faster than the I2C. You should be able to get some pretty damn fast loop times out of this thing. I personally am planning on running it with D-Shot 600 so we can see just what this thing's capable of. Now it is going from $29.99 on IFlight-RC's website, so you know the Revo Acro is $24 and the Raceflight Revolt is $39.99, so it's somewhere in the middle. It's well priced for an F4 controller. This is an Acro. Obviously, most of us don't need barometers or magnometers, magnometers, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Magnetometer.
So, definitely a high-performance racing type board. It is an all-in-one, so there's a PDB on here. You can see positive, negative, and then signal wires. And it has its own built-in current sensor. Now, that being said, this is only good up to 110 amps. And 1 through 4S. So your average racer, this will be a direct drop-in. However, if you're one of those crazy guys like me with my Mod X who's running excessively high amps, you can't use this PDB. You'll have to use something different. Or if you're trying to run 6S like their compatible ESCs are, you get my point. It's only good up to 110 amps or 4S. It does have a 128 megabit, which is a 16 megabyte flash chip, so black box built in. 16 megabytes is quite a bit. You'll be able to fly damn near all day and probably won't fill it up. The confusing part to me, on Raceflight, this uses the CC3D Revo firmware, but on Betaflight, it uses the Airbot F4 firmware. I'm assuming somewhere deep down there's similar, whatever, Betaflight, Airbot F4, Raceflight, CC3D Revo. I'm going to start with Betaflight. I might switch to Raceflight. I've been having trouble with it lately, but I really want to stress this thing and try and run on 32 kilohertz refresh rate. It's only a 30mm by 30mm flight controller, so it's a little bit smaller than the standard 35-35, and I just dropped it. And the mounting holes are only 25mm square, so I mean, it's not a problem. It's going to go in what I plan on putting it in just fine. But I mean, this thing looks good. You just saw me open the package, so I'll get you a weight once I put it together. There aren't any labels really on the pinouts. That's direct plug-in for Spectrum Sat. However, on their website, there's a real nice diagram. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, guys. First cup of coffee. There's a really good diagram that shows where all the pin headers go and everything, but it did not come with any. Of course, most of us direct solder anyway. But this thing's going to go into an iFlight. I need more coffee. Into an iFlight frame, and I'm going to thrash it with a set of their ESCs, and I plan on pushing it as hard as I can, so I'm going to get it built and see how it goes. I'm cranking along here on my build, and found something that's really bugging the hell out of me. This is the F4 board. This is 12 gauge wire. Focus, you piece of crap. Thank you. This is 14 gauge wire. So, yeah, you're going to have to use some thin wire or shimmy this thing in here, which I'm going to do. Not bad, but then again, it's an F4 board. If you're running an F4 board, you're probably running high amperage, but it's only rated at 110, so I don't know. Figure it out, balance, but you got to either run thin wire or jimmy it in there. Stupid. Okay, so we all know the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is the first build is pretty, and then as you troubleshoot, it gets a little bit worse and a little bit worse. So ignore my build right now. I'm going to clean it up some more. Anyway, I'm buttoning this up, and last little thing I want to go over before I put it completely together. These solder pads are ridiculous, okay? Let me get this thing closer. You can see 3 wires right there, but if you note, there is a 4th solder pad in the middle that is the ground wire. Could not get any of them to suck up the solder enough to solder to the pads. So ended up just soldering to the regular grounds, which worked, but like, holy crap, these are small pads. I'm not complaining because the performance of this thing, from what I've, bench tested, looks pretty good. But I'm going to clean all this up, button this up, and get out and actually flight test it now and see how it handles. I also answered my own question about the Raceflight versus Betaflight, two different firmwares. It has to do with the motor layouts. Betaflight and Raceflight use two different layouts, so you have to have different versions. And side note, the Spectrum satellite plug does not work on Raceflight because Raceflight forces you to use UART1 for the receiver. They also rearrange their UART, so it's ridiculous. That's why this is soldered like this. So, again, the first build is great. Second build is always slightly messier. But I'm going to put it together, wrap it up, and get it in the air and thrash it, and I'll be back with you with some comments. Woo! I was up way too late last night working on stuff. But I got out today, and I got to go test and fly this iFlight sponsored build, review, set, whatever. So for the Revo F4 that's in here, wow. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. This thing is about 286 grams all up without the battery, and 30 amp ESCs, 3 to 6S, and then 2205, 2500s. And I tested both Raceflight and Betaflight, 3.1 and 3.0 on this thing. And it absolutely performs phenomenal. I don't remember the percentages of CPU load. It's an F4 board, so it was nothing at all whatsoever. It is great. Couple little comments, concerns, complaints. You saw about the tiny trace pads. I didn't have any problems with the ground wires run to the motor grounds. No problem. No video problems. No nothing. The traces were smooth. Black box worked amazing. 16 megabytes I flew for, let's see, it ran through 4 battery packs before it ran out. It is smaller than a regular board. I'm not sure why they went with the 30 millimeter. But it is smaller than your standard board, which is 35, and it's definitely not small as a Pico board, so the holes are weird. I ended up double-sided taping it, which is necessary anyway for super fast refresh rates, and that probably has something to do with why my traces were so smooth. No vibration, no gyro noise. It handles and performs great. I mean, out-of-the-box PIDs on Betaflight and Raceflight were just perfect. I didn't really have to do anything. Raceflight had a little bit of jitter, but I kind of attribute to the fact that I hit a tree with one of these props. I don't remember which one. Like I said, I stayed up way too late working on reviews. So this little flight board is great. Check them out. They're at IFlight-RC.com. I'll put the link down below. If you like this video, please like it, share it, comment, whatever you want to do. Tell your friends. But yeah, definitely like this board. Check it out. Thanks a lot, guys.